Holy shit, it is somehow December already. Time flies when you're having fun, and considering how many games have come out this year, it's really not a surprise that 2023 has just whizzed by. But between now and that ball in Times Square dropping, there's still quite a few more games coming out. Here are December 2023's biggest game releases. As always, a friendly reminder, we try to be as comprehensive, accurate, and up to the minute as humanly possible between me recording this video and you watching it. Delays and surprise announcements may have happened, and some games just don't make the list for one reason or another. Nothing personal, nothing nefarious, it happens. We also occasionally make mistakes. Last month, we mistakenly said that Persona 5 Tactica was only on Switch when it is in fact on basically everything. I also said that Thirsty Suitors was rooted in Southeast Asian culture when it's just South Asian, namely Sri Lankan. What we screw up next month, you gotta tune in next episode to find out, but first, let's talk about some video games that are coming out in December. On the first, Switch owners can deck the halls with batarangs and grapnels in the Batman Arkham Trilogy, which collects Rocksteady's beloved Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. You can also have a slime of a time in Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. Steamworld Build hits Switch and every other platform that day as well, and after dabbling in tower defense, Metroidvania platforming, real-time strategy, deck building, and so on, this latest entry adds city building and management to Steamworld's resume. Death Stranding is theoretically coming to a range of Apple devices in December, but Apple is historically annoyingly secretive when it comes to announcing release dates more than a few days in advance. Right now, only the Mac OS version has one, which is December 2nd. Bear in mind, that's only if you have a Mac desktop or laptop with an M1 chip or newer. Meanwhile, if you have an iPhone 15 Pro or an iPad with an M1 chip or newer, the game could very well drop on December 2nd, or it might just pop up on the App Store unannounced like some spectral phantasm. If everything I just said seems like a tediously verbose way to explain a needlessly convoluted concept, well, that's nothing compared to some of the cutscenes in Death Stranding. On December 5th, after well over a year in early access, the Animal Crossing-like Disney Dreamlight Valley will be getting a full official release on everything, which is dropping alongside the first major expansion, A Rift in Time. There was talk of this game going free-to-play, but it is instead going to adopt the good old-fashioned buy the thing and then it is yours to own approach, unless of course you're an Apple's Arcade subscriber, in which case it is yours at no additional cost. Also coming to Apple Arcade that day is Sonic Dream Team, and it's exclusive to the service for the immediate future, and understandably, some folks are less than thrilled about that, so here's hoping it either comes to other platforms, or it totally sucks, so nobody feels like they're missing out. Unless, of course, you're an Apple Arcade subscriber and a Sonic fan, in which case, hopefully, the game is great. Still on the 5th, Skater XL comes to the most skateboard-shaped console currently on the market, the Nintendo Switch, and don't worry, it is a standalone story, so you won't be confused if you didn't play the first 3 games, Skater Small, Skater Medium, and Skater Large. That's a stupid joke, but I like it. On December 5th, The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria hits PS5 after an unfortunate last-minute delay days before it hit PC back in October. This is also slated for Xbox Series sometime early next year, but you know what they say, a Lord of the Rings game is never late, nor is it early. It releases precisely when it means to. Except for Gollum, I guess, which probably should have launched directly into the fires of Mount Doom, rather than, on consoles and PC. On December 6th, Hello Neighbor, Nicky's Diaries may sound like one of those movies they show late at night on those channels your parents don't subscribe to, but I assure you it is a brand new installment of the popular Breaking and Entering Sim series, which is coming to Android and iOS, and chances are my joke about straight-to-cable adult programming went way over the heads of most of the Hello Neighbor demographic. Get off my lawn, children. Yo, listen up, here's a story about a little guy who lives in a blue world, and all day and all night, and everything he sees is just blue, like him. And that little guy's name was Jake Sully in the hit film James Cameron's Avatar, and you can blue yourself in Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora on December 7th. This game looks to take the somewhat familiar, maybe played out open-world action formula of Ubisoft's Far Cry games and inject it with all of the fabulous flora and fauna and militaristic colonizers and mech suits from Avatar, and it's probably going to add a few new bells and whistles too, I imagine. And really, that sounds like a pretty good consolation prize for anybody who's bummed that they have to wait a whole year to sit down again in a theater, put on some stupid glasses, and go ooh and ah as those big blue cats save the trees or the whales or whatever they're doing in the next movie. That's on the Xbox Series, the PS5, and the PC. Speaking of putting stupid stuff on your face and going ooh and ah, it's a good day for VR enthusiasts as well. Arizona Sunshine 2 will likely brighten the day of any PSVR 2 owners itching for something new to play, and MetaQuest 2 and 3 owners will probably shit bricks over Lego Bricktales. This is the VR version of the Captain Toad treasure tracker-esque puzzle game that was released last year, and it looks like it'll benefit a ton from the tactile nature of VR controls, and it'll also be taking advantage of the Quest 3 new mixed reality functionality. And finally, it's a way you can play Lego on your living room coffee table without all of the hassle of, actually doing that. Invisible Lego, they're here. You can't step on them. I guess you can, it probably doesn't hurt though, so there's that. Finally, Lego bricks that you can't step on because they're not real. Still in the 7th, the hit scary horror mobile game series Evil Nun comes to all the consoles, and Evil Nun: The Broken Mask. It's an overhauled version of the first installment that looks to incorporate some new features, scare some new players, and maybe give them a slap on the wrist with a ruler or a sledgehammer if they're acting up. Meanwhile, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader is yet another game set in that grimdark universe with expensive minifigures, but this time around it's exploring a corner of that universe through the lens of an old-school isometric RPG, and it looks to be in pretty good hands as it's developed by Owlcat Games, the studio behind the Pathfinder series. That's on PC and the newer consoles. Still in the 7th, the Outer Wilds Archaeologist Edition comes to Switch, DLC included, and this is that 2019 sleeper hit about space exploration with an offbeat sense of humor, not to be confused with the Outer Worlds, which is also a 2019 sleeper hit about space exploration with an offbeat sense of humor. This is the one where your rocket ship is made of wood and there's a time loop, and you have to investigate deep space banjo music, I think. A few things happened between 2019 and now, so pardon me if I fudged any of the details. Anyway, the Outer Wilds and the Outer Worlds are both available on Switch, as well as everything else. It's not a game, but the Game Awards is on the 7th as well, so it's extremely possible we get some world premiere available now announcements. One thing we know for sure is getting announced is the long-awaited Xbox Series X and S release date for Baldur's Gate 3, which is supposedly still coming in December, and that's great, but it seems kind of bogus to hold that news until then, but tease it in advance. It's like your boss giving you your paycheck late, but acting like it's birthday money. But whatever. Baldur's Gate is one of the best, if not the best games of the year, depending on who you're talking to, so if it gets more eyes on it this way, good. Also, this game has shockingly painless cross progression, so if you got a bunch of hours logged on another device but want to be playing it on Xbox, that's very, very good for you. Anyway, stay tuned for that and probably some Game Awards exclusive Arby's cosmetics for Warframe presented by Grubhub or something along those lines. On the 13th, as much as I wish it was about dolphins, House Flipper 2 is a game about the thrilling world of a home renovation and real estate, namely buying property, doing renovations, and then turning a profit. But really, given the current housing market, this might as well be a fantasy RPG set in the same universe as MMOs like Redfin and Zillow. Anyway, you can roleplay min-maxing shiplap and backsplashes on PC with PS5 and Xbox Series versions in the works. Remember Bulletstorm? Well, it's back in VR form. That's right, Epic Games and People Can Fly's kooky, over-the-top 2011 FPS has been retooled for the PlayStation VR 2, the newer Quest models, and the PC, and it's out December 14th. Also on the 14th, Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising is a sequel to Arc System Works' 2023 2.5D fighter set in the universe of Cygames' JRPG series. And finally, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet gets yet another expansion with the hidden treasure of Area Zero Part 2 on the Nintendo Switch. And last on our list of games that actually have release dates, on the 20th, Resident Evil 4 Remake is coming to iPhone 15 Pro and iPads and Macs with an M1 chip or newer, and I'm extremely curious to see if we keep getting console quality games like this and Death Stranding on iOS, or if the console quality price tag will be a barrier to entry to people who are used to a more casual price for games on their phone. A handful of games are supposedly coming out this month, and some of them seem like they will, while others seem like maybe they're being optimistic or just don't want to admit they're running a little bit late. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2 is supposedly hitting PSVR 2 before the year is over, and that still might happen. It is a massively popular series that thrives on jump scares, so why not jump scare everybody with a surprise launch? Also, Sony announces PSVR games with all the enthusiasm and advance warning of somebody calling in sick to work, so who knows? Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is a hugely anticipated sequel from a massive intellectual property, but I feel like it still needs a little more runway to properly build up hype. It's made appearances at the Game Awards the last 2 years, so maybe Captain Titus's new voice actor will dramatically appear on stage to announce that it's coming out in April or something like that. I'm just guessing. If I got it right, it was a guess, but I still want points for that because it's good guessing. And finally, Cookie Cutter is a hand-drawn Metroidvania brawler that we recently previewed, and it looks pretty cool. Will it actually come out this year? It might, but it's not like anybody's short on other stuff to play this year, so hopefully the developers don't kill themselves trying to get it out before the holidays because there's a lot of competition. If you would like a full, comprehensive, and regularly updated list of games coming out, here is a handy-dandy QR code that'll take you right to one on IGN Playlist. I plugged this last month, but this is like IGN's video game version of Letterboxd or Goodreads, and it's a way to keep track of the games that you've played, are playing, or want to play someday. You can also hit up IGN.com/playlist if you think QR codes belong in sports bars, or you can just not check it out at all, but I figured I'd call it out in case anyone was interested. Well, gang, I think we did it. If you enjoyed this video, we've been doing one like it for every month for almost 5 years. So if none of these games are grabbing you, maybe some of the hundreds of other ones we've talked about in other videos will. And you know, basically the video is to tell you that they're out, but if the video's out and the month has passed, those games are probably out. Real talk for a second, I have a ton of fun making this series, but it wouldn't get to the finish line without the help and extremely hard work of Amanda and Mark Medita, Chris Del Padre, Logan Plant, and whoever is cutting this month's episode while Chris is away for Thanksgiving. Amanda hasn't assigned an editor yet, but I'm sure you're working very hard. And of course, everybody watching at home, thank you so much for watching these videos, especially everybody who came back every month to watch more videos that we worked hard on, especially everybody who took the time to leave a nice comment. We read all of the comments, and when people say nice things, it makes us really happy. It's a genuinely good positive reinforcement, and I sincerely appreciate it, so thank you for all of that. As always, what new games are you playing this month? What games from earlier this year are you still glued to? Let us know in the comments below, and if we forgot something or screwed up, we'll try to do better next year. Until then, I hope everybody has a safe, happy, healthy, and fun December, including, but not limited to, whatever holiday celebrations you decide to observe. I would say I'll see you next year, but I think we're doing a video about 2024's biggest game releases, which a lot of them we probably don't even know about yet, but keep an eye out for that video. And on that note, happy New Year, everybody, or whatever. I'll see you around. Like, share, subscribe. Later.